So I got you into the Bad Batch.
Yes.
You like it?
Yes. No, I loved it.
Yes, Trebek.
I watched all of it, and then I rewatched episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of the Star Wars. I watched the Clone Wars movie.
You're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
And what else did I watch? Yeah, I watched.
So you meant like the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, then the Clone Wars movie, then the series?
Yes.
Are you done
no, I did the series first. Then I rewatched Phantom Menace and
you went back.
The whole thing, yeah. And the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars series is cool because it smooths out what everyone kind of felt was a little rough about the prequels.
Yes.
The prequels aren't great if you really watch it. If the whole story, though, is very good.
It is, exactly.
If you include those, you just notice that's like a chapter in that story.
Yes, and then if you go...
But the whole story is very good.
Yes, and if you rewatch Bad Batch, then you can see that they did such a good job taking pieces from all of that.
So, did you finish the whole series?
I did.
That's great.
I did.
How long did it take you? I feel like you went pretty quickly.
I did. I probably...
It took me all of Pandemic.
Oh, no, I binged it.
Was that good for you?
I binged it probably, in a week.
It's amazing.
In a week, in about a week.
So, have you watched Star Wars Rebels?
No.
That is, so originally it was Clone Wars, and then it's Rebels, and then the Bad Batch is filling in that space between that time.
Okay.
But Rebels chronologically came out, I think the first season was 2014. I think it went 2014 to 2018. But that is the time after the Clone Wars and before the original trilogy takes place.
Did it do a good job contributing?
I really liked it.
Contributing and filling.
It's a slightly different style of animation in that the shaping is different, but it kind of catches back up into looking like the Clone Wars again towards episode 4. It's actually beautiful at that point. They're a little too round and shiny in the first couple seasons, but the story is very good. And you get to see who's recently been shown in this last season when they go to Ryloth in the Bad Batch.
Right.
The people, the Twi'lek people with the tendrils. The little girl, green girl, the Twi'lek girl, Hera, is Hera Syndulla, who's a major character in Rebels.
Okay.
She's this amazing pilot, fighter pilot, star pilot, whatever you call her, and she's a leader of the one of the cells of the first uprising of the Rebel Alliance. It's really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
I got to check that out.
And it's an interesting series because it becomes the most, I think, spiritual version of Star Wars. There's
that's
much more like Force things going on, which is very cool.
Yeah. I think the only thing I didn't like out of all of that was the Clone Wars movie. I thought that was really...
The CGI?
Yes.
That was just basically establishing Ahsoka Tano.
It just felt like it was, there.
Who went from being very annoying to one of my favorite characters in Star Wars.
Which one? Which character? Ahsoka.
Yeah. So by the time, was it episode 7?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she was a little annoying at the
in the beginning she's
and then
a little
towards
kid,
the end.
But you said she's annoying towards the end?
No, annoying in the beginning.
But towards the end, she's amazing.
Yes.
And then have you watched The Mandalorian?
I have.
She's in that.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And at that point, she's a complete badass.
That's right. I did not. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, so her character development over time is really interesting to watch because you actually feel like you watched her grow up, and now she's this she's very cool.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see a whole little storyline on her.
Well, they're going to do another series with her.
With it focused just on her.
And there's actually a book. I don't usually read, or actually I audio listened because it was the same voice that did the cartoon. But there's an audio book called Ahsoka, which is actually pretty good as well. It's like it goes into the time she spent after she fled the Jedi, or really fled the Empire in Order 66, but went into hiding. And her time between that and Star Wars Rebels, so where she kind of became the spy that she kind of became as Fulcrum to help the rebellion. So yeah, anyways, it's interesting. But I'd say the theme of the Bad Batch slightly similar to Loki. I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but instead of free will versus determinism, it's conformity versus creativity. So they're all clones.
Yeah.
These are the special clones that look different, act different, but they're still clones.
Right. And the parallel with that is they're variants.
They're kind of variants of clones.
Yeah.
Not in a timeline way whatsoever, but they're different.
Conceptually.
if there are different timelines, there's a Loki in every timeline, slightly different Loki in every timeline. So these clones are more of a singular time, because we don't time jump in Star Wars, but they're all the same version or different version of the same person over and over again. The clones. Bad Batch are slightly different variants of that still same person that they are cloned from. And then Omega is even one further than that because she's a girl. So it's conformity because they're all clones as a whole. But there's this Bad Batch who went against Order 66. Originally, they are inherently more creative than the rest of the clones. So it's like, do they do what they're genetically predisposed to do? One would call that a physical version of fate.
Right.
And what they're trained and programmed to do versus they are on their own. They're probably going to join the rebellion. And they're helping out with Ryloth. They actually got involved with a political event as opposed to their mercenary work that they have been doing. So,
I think the Bad Batch represents like creativity, innovation, and that change, and and then that's connected to Loki and that concept of free will.
Now, you said you like this better than The Mandalorian, even.
I did.
Why is that? Because I really like The Mandalorian. I like them both.
I really like Mandalorian. Cinematography is well shot, but I just find the storyline for Bad Batch more engaging and just relatable, and the characterization to me is amazing. Like whoever they casted the voiceovers for, like Hunter, like when you hear Hunter's voice,
all the same
Crosshair,
guy. It's all the same guy.
I wanted to go ahead and Google and see if it was the same person.
All those voices.
Okay, that person is amazing.
He is very good.
But that voice for Crosshair is just, it stays with you, and it just adds so much to that character. I think Crosshair is an amazing character.
Menacing to Crosshair's voice.
Yes.
Crosshair's very cool as a bad guy.
He does, and he reminds me of Loki in a sense, where it's Loki in a sense, and the whole TVA where
TVA at this point, if you're going to make comparisons, would be the New Empire.
Yeah, and
they are a fascist state for sure. If fascism was ever seen in a movie, it's Star Wars. It's that they for sure stood for fascism and like how evil that is.
Yeah. You have the post World War II generation making those movies and then going to those movies.
Yeah, that's what Star Wars is.
Yes, that's what it is. It's the kids of the war generation growing up, and then that is the fantasy that resonated with them because that's kind of what they grew up hearing about.
Yeah, it's very much that. Yeah. It's admitted that it was drawn from World War II.
Right.
And then even some of the aerial flight scenes are from other older World War II movies, like the cockpit and the maneuvers and everything else. So yeah, it's pretty cool looking at what compares and contributes to Star Wars. Everybody likes Star Wars because it's all these different threads of things that we've loved, like mythology and recent World War II and religion and all this stuff, and it throws it all into one thing, and people like really hold on to it because that's what makes it feel so
into the Western feel.
And there's a Western feel to it too.
Western like thing to it. It's filmed like a Western. The bar opens, the slow pan.
Yeah,
that's right.
All that kind of stuff.
That's all stuff we've already loved. You didn't realize it was all in one thing because they kind of morphed it into one thread. A theme of what it is, but it has a lot of elements.
And then a sword culture, like a
samurai.
Yeah. All those things in one just really make something really cool.
Genres, religion.
Sneezies. Excuse me. I just woke you up.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say?
That was just interesting that you guys brought up the Western culture. It reminds me of Han Solo or...
Yeah, Han Solo is the Western part of Star Wars. That's actually good.
I keep on forgetting his name. Who's that the bounty hunter in this?
I'm dying. I'm not dying.
Boba Fett?
Boba Fett.
No.
In this?
Yeah.
In the Bad Batch?
Yeah.
Oh, Cad Bane. He's got the big cowboy hat. He's so Boba Fett originally was based off of Clint Eastwood's character in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So if you notice, he's got that poncho. Everything else he's a spaceman. He's got the the helmet and everything else. But he's a bounty hunter who said very little. His persona before we ever saw him without a mask, which we did last season of Mandalorian, you always envisioned kind of a Clint Eastwood type under that mask, like some sort of badass. Tamar Morrison is also a badass. But yeah, he was modeled after Clint Eastwood. So Cad Bane, who's the cowboy hat bounty hunter in Bad Batch and in the Clone Wars, his name is modeled after Lee Van Cleese, I think his name is, who was the other bounty hunter in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Oh,
There's two bounty hunters in that
cool.
movie. Yeah. So it's interesting, again, what they pull from.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, homage to a classic great
Homages.
film. Yeah.
He was the guy who had the tobacco case.
I don't
Yeah.
recall.
No?
He was not Clint Eastwood in the movie. And he was not the bad guy
No,
that
the
they
guy
were.
in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah. There was the good guy, the bad guy. He was the bad guy.
Right.
Or maybe Clint Eastwood was a good guy.
Right, but the guy
He was the bad
dressed up
guy.
in black
Yes.
was the bad guy.
Okay.
And that's what they modeled
And the bad guy.
with Chad.
And I think that other guy is the ugly.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling him. Yeah. He's the ugly one. They were, whatever. It's just a movie. Anyways. What else do you have to say about the Bad Batch?
The whole thing with Omega
Yeah.
is, I like the injection of her. It's not really spirituality, but the side of good constantly being interjected into the the characters and relationships with Bad Batch. But sometimes it gets a little tired,
Annoying.
a little annoying because it always comes back to. And I just
Yeah.
feel like I wish the other would be interesting to see the other characters, develop them a little bit more.
I feel like there's been some character development with Wrecker.
Yes.
Like you
yeah.
thought he was a big oaf.
Wrecker's adorable. He's an adorable
you're like really
character.
starting to love him.
Yes.
He's yeah. They
He's
should
like
do
a
more of
teddy
Hunter.
bear.
I feel like Hunter's in the background at this point.
Yeah, Hunter's in the
He's got
background.
no personality.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's like a less angry Rambo.
Right. He's just kind of steady Eddie, and you're
Yeah.
like,
You're
okay,
right.
you're not curious about his history.
He reminds me of Leonardo from Ninja Turtles because Leonardo to me didn't have much of a
Turtles?
person. Yeah. Like
What-
the four
what is
warrior. It's the same motif basically.
What turtles? What are you
Ninja
talking-
Turtles.
I've never seen.
You've never seen Teenage
Never-
Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm so sorry.
What?
No.
Oh my! Hold on.
So
hold
he's
on.
like
Aaron,
Leonard?
you who doesn't
Leonard?
watch anything has watched. You know what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is?
No, because I grew up in the 90s.
I don't know what I know what they are, but I've never watched.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
movie. I've never watched.
It's
the movie.
movies, it's cartoons.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like a whole
No,
thing.
I don't
Sure,
know.
for sure.
It's comics, and then I started a cartoon and then a movie.
Definitely
no.
watched
I
a
think
lot
that's
of
how it
teenage.
went.
I
Teenage
know
Mutant Ninja Turtles is
nothing.
great.
I know
Yeah,
nothing.
It's great. It was so much fun.
But you were saying that he's like
Oh my gosh.
Leonardo-
You've just like
Leonardo
shocked
da
me.
Vinci? They're named
Not Leonardo
after
da
artists?
Vinci. Leonardo, who was the Ninja Turtle leader, who to me was like the least fun Ninja Turtle. He was always
Okay.
just like about the rules and strict,
which is
and like
Hunter.
he would like tattle on the other guys to splinter. It's like, okay, guy.
yeah.
But I think Hunter is very logistic when it comes to like he's the strategist.
For sure, but
yeah.
I'm just talking about like how they need to like ump his like characterness in the show because he's at this point I'm like, oh yeah, Hunter. So to me it's like Omega and Wrecker and then who and the lady who's Rhea Perlman. The
Sid.
lady,
Oh, I
the
love
lady, she's
Sid.
a lizard. She's
Yeah,
literally
Sid.
a lizard.
Yeah.
Sid, who's a
And
she's
I-
a Basque.
I like
she's a
their-
Basque. I think they're called Basques.
Basques.
Is that their species? There's
I
the
don't
the
know,
lizard
but
people.
She's cool. I
They're
really
the
like
lizard
that.
people,
I
Aaron.
like her.
Yeah.
I also like the Data. I always think of
Data.
Well, I think of Data as a Star Trek Data.
Right.
Like they have their own Data. You
Which is
know?
what?
The
There's a lot of datas.
right? Well, it's like
Talking about Tech?
Tech.
He's not a robot
No, but Tech reminds me
Yeah,
of
but also
Data
of Donatello.
from Trek.
in Ninja Turtles.
Well, I don't-
Like
I
he's
know
the science
nothing.
one.
I know
you need to watch
nothing.
the Ninja Turtles, man. It wasn't like one of the most fun things growing up.
And Spock too is the same character.
But Aaron, wasn't
that's
Ninja Turtles like
right.
one
I
of the most
love Spock, yeah.
fun things?
Yeah, it
You're
was
like,
great.
Ninja
It was
Turtles.
great, yeah.
Oh,
Ninja
you're
Turtles
so
are good.
fucking happy to see the Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles. You're like, hey, it's a good time. Like that's the vibe of Ninja Turtles.
Well, because Vanilla Ice did the theme song.
Yeah, you're like, all right, we're gonna have fun. I'm eight.
Ice Baby?
Vanilla
Yeah,
Ice was in the
what-
second. He did like a cameo, like basically
was
a whole
in it.
song. It was awkward when you watch it.
What was the song?
Oh, man.
It was like instead of
was
"Go
it
White Boy
Teenage
Go," whatever it was like
Mutant
"Go Ninja Go." I think it might have been
Really?
the start of the end of his career. It's just like, well, that was weird.
I think the start of the end of his career was when he like hit done on
On his first
on
song?
his first song.
He made an amazing, if you really think about it, one-hit wonder
Oh,
that is still with
yeah,
us.
No, it's crazy. Yeah.
Bang, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
People love that song.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do much. I think he's making. I think he's fine.
He's a real estate agent.
Is he really?
Yeah. No, I'm serious. And people are
I think he's a real
Well,
estate. Like
right now
I think he's a
stoked to
house.
do it.
I think he's a
It's
house.
Like, I bought my house from Vanilla
Well,
Ice.
good time for him
I
to
think
be
he's a
a real
house
estate
flipper.
agent.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a real estate agent. I think he's a house flipper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he is because he's on an HGTV show. Who would have thought?
He has an HGTV show?
Who would have thought? This is basically what it was. He was like a much more happy. Like he was as big as Eminem still is.
I don't think so.
At that
No.
moment,
It is
at
not
that
fair
moment,
at
Yeah.
all.
for
Yeah,
like
I-
3 months of like
don't agree.
1992, he was huge.
Here's the real question.
For 3 months of 1992, he
Eminem
was
is way bigger.
Here's the
gigantic.
bigger question.
Eminem was big because you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's
But it-
amazing,
but
and he
right-
still
but
is.
over the
And
time-
Vanilla Ice
but-
had one
but-
song, and everyone was like, oh my god, this guy's great.
But in this,
He's so good.
But-
And like it was that, and then people are like, well, it's the song is. I'm over it.
but in
That's
this,
Vanilla
in
Ice.
this timeline,
that was his whole
Eminem
career.
is more of a like
so accurate.
legacy, more of a legacy.
I know. I'm not saying
Mike,
they're the same. I'm saying
what
the
happened-
popularity at that time.
What,
Like a
where
chart.
is MC Hammer now?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't he like a pastor?
That's what I want to know. Too legit to
I
quit.
think he's a pastor.
Yeah.
I think he was like he used to do like the TBN sometimes.
Okay.
It was like the Trinity Broadcasting Network, like the televangelist.
MC Hammer.
I think he still is I still think he still is like a pastor.
Yeah.
MC Hammer was huge too for a second.
Oh man.
That guy was
Yeah,
so.
Huge.
Like,
He had pants too,
His
like
hair
big
got
pants.
that big pants.
Like
Big pants.
He looked like a genie, but somehow
Yeah.
he made it look super cool.
He made it look cool.
They're like,
Yeah,
wow.
I
And then
remember-
anyone else who tried to do it, it was like, they just looked not it. They were just off. Anybody. You could be like a good looking person, like everything was like, what are you wearing, man? It's like MC Hammer wears it. He's also on stage being a like entertainer.
Did that kind of lead to the gecko pants?
No, I mean I think there's a little bit of a crossover there.
I mean, I was that crossover.
I
for
think
sure.
the like
MC Hammer
looser.
and gecko pants.
I think they're not like sweatpants, but they're like the looser workout pants was like popular in gyms. So like they had like
Yeah.
fabric and then like a tight elastic waist, and like they pulled from that and said MC Hammer was like he probably wore them, and they probably made some bigger versions, and he probably went, I want my costume and my shtick to be giant parachute pants. Like I like that look, but I want it like this big. And so they just made him into a genie. They're like, okay, man, here's your genie pants. Go rock the world.
Ninja.
No ninja.
No ninja.
That was Vanilla Ice. Go ninja. Anywho,
Nice, baby.
what do you have to say? I think we're ending this episode pretty soon.
Yeah.
I make it sound like, well, that was a bad job. It's just because we're out of time. I don't know what to do when we're towards the end. Aaron goes 2 minutes, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I
see
want to
the-
like
I
get
see
everything
the
in.
hands.
Now that I
I
got
see the
everything in,
hands.
because I made sure I got it in. Now it's like, what do we do now?